Hey there, fourth graders. Welcome back from spring break. Yeah, I know. I could have stayed out until summer, all the way through summer. Well, yeah, I would have missed you guys, just this much. Holding up the thumb and an index finger that's about an inch and a half apart. And no, actually, I'd miss you guys a lot. But still, we're back. Here we are. Let's get after it. It's math time. Today, we're going to pick up where we left off. I know. Did we leave off, Mr. C? Okay, how to make tenths into hundredths without magic. Yes, before it may have been magic. I'm not telling. But today, clearly not magic. Clearly today, it's just math. So, how do I create hundredths from tenths? I mean, like that. That's it. That's all. Go home. No, wait, you're already home. That's pretty much it. But that's just with the picture. And mathematically, yeah, it's a little bit more complicated, but really not a whole heck of a lot. In fact, I'm going to venture to guess that about half of you probably have this figured out already, and bully for you, or good on you, as the Aussies would say. But why? Well, come along and I'll show you. This is 4/10, right? Yeah, you've done this before. You did a little bit of shading. I just copied and pasted. That's why they all look exactly the same, because in fact they are. Just copied right after each other. That is the second largest comma I've ever seen right there. That one right there. Yeah, I'm just going to move it for you just because it scares the letter R. They're about the same size. Anyway, so moving right along. If I take that same shading and put it over on the second grid, which is there to the right, now what's this? And you could say, okay, wait, Mr. C, there are 10 parts in that first. That's why those are 4/10. And that second part, well, you've split the 10 parts into 10 parts, which means you have 100 parts now. And you have 40 of those parts. Yes, I counted them, just to make sure. And so that's 40 hundredths. Is it that easy? Well, yeah, it is visually. And not much more difficult than that. In fact, I would say just as easy. These are equivalent. These fractions, yes. And I'll show you. This is the key to it right here. You're going to want to pay attention. Okay, there's 4/10. That represents our first grid right there. That's 4/10. All I'm going to do is multiply the parts in the whole by 10. And the way we do that fractionally is we write it as 10/10, because we have to multiply all the parts times 10, and we have to multiply a fraction that's equivalent to 1. That helps us make an equivalent fraction. And there it is. 10/10 times 4/10 is 40/10. Sorry, how about 40 hundredths? That works better, because 10 times 10 is 100, last I checked. So, there it is, in a nutshell. That's it. That's all. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of something to this on the second slide. It's not going to freak you out, at least I hope it doesn't. And my drawing, as I like to call it, is actually not too bad. Here we go. Yes, I know. Okay, admit it. You knew I'd bring a number line to the party, and I did. I'm going to illustrate, well, first I'm going to ask a question. Where is 40 hundredths? Mr. C, those are tenths. I know, right? Well, here's the deal. This is why the number line is sometimes your friend and sometimes your mortal enemy. On this lesson, it's somewhere in between. 40 hundredths. Well, let's see. Tell me how you know that it's there. Well, because that's 4/10. And we just explained on the first slide that 4/10 is the same as 40 hundredths. Now, what I want you to get a clue on here is that what's going to happen is I'm going to show you, I'm not going to put in 10 little lines in between these to make hundredths. I know that may be disappointing for some of you, and you'll just have to live with it. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put halfway marks, which means like 5 and 10 and 15 and like that. I'm not going to do it all the way out, but you'd end up at 40 hundredths. Let me write the decimals so you get the idea. And yes, I ran out of space, so I couldn't write the 40 hundredths over that last line. Yes, it's true. it's hard to make it. It's hard to make a decent drawing on this. I know I might have been able to do a little cut and trim on the on that that nice number line, but I thought, nah, I don't want to do that, so didn't. Anyway, so that's what the number line looks like. You may end up, in fact, I know I can see your future from here. You're going to be asked to plot on a number line something like 3 2500ths. Remember what I did here. The halfway point is between 20 and 30 is 25, just like it's always been. So where is 40 100ths? Tell me how you know. Because it's on the number line, Mr. C, duh. I know, that's an acceptable answer, but just for today. And, don't forget, add an and. 4/10 is equivalent to 40 hundredths as fractions. Therefore, the decimal equivalents are also equivalent. So 4/10 as a decimal is equivalent to 40 hundredths as a decimal. Yes, you see that little zero that I put in with that added place value. It's true. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of a side trip here because I think you probably get this stuff. And some of you are going to say, okay, Mr. C, no side trip for me. I'm off and running. I'm going to do the problem set and, well, the homework set. And it's going to be pretty darn easy and maybe even fun, but probably not. Okay, I can't fight that. How about 5 100ths? Think about that for a second. What does that look like as a decimal? Now, we know it can't be 50 100ths. We know it can't be 5/10, so I've just eliminated two possibilities. In fact, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to string this all the way out. Let's see, what's the decimal? Hint, check the number line. Oh, there it is, Mr. Z. You wrote it there. But what I want you to know emphatically is it will never be this. That's 5/10. That's a no. And it will also not be 50 hundredths. I have had people tell me that. In fact, let me back this up and write these as decimals. I've had people tell me, Mr. C, it's this. And I'm going to say, no. And they say, well, Mr. C, could it be this? No. You kidding me? That's a whole number. So, if you've got 5 hundredths, you're going to have no ones, a decimal point. Not there. Nope, that's not right. It's hundredths. That would be your first instinct. That's why this first one is wrong. It's actually in the hundredths place. The 5 has to show up in the hundredths place, which is the second decimal place value to the right of the decimal point. And I said that really slowly to emphasize it, not because I think you're dumb. I don't think you're dumb. I think you're smart. Your mom dresses you funny, but that's a discussion for another time. Anyway, we'll talk if you have questions. Otherwise, get after it, y'all.